Continuing our evening of magic, the Royal Luxor is proud to present the film The Illusionist.
Magic of the heart and all its illusions. I am the Wiz. Alright everybody, welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. If you like this review, please leave a like at the end of this video. And if you want to watch more, please subscribe. I do 3 reviews a week on this channel. Alright everybody, I am here to review the 2010 animated film The Illusionist, which was based off of a script by Jacques Tati, and it was adapted and directed by Sylvain Chomet. Alright, so I'm going to note here, I didn't put this in with the films of Jacques Tati because technically this isn't a Jacques Tati film, but this will be on the playlist as well at the end. So if you're watching this through the playlist and you're seeing this, no, this film is not a Jacques Tati film in theory, but it was adapted from a script by him. So if you see it on that playlist, that's why. Let's get into the review. So I gotta be honest, I'm conflicted about The Illusionist. Immediately after finishing Chomet's adaptation of one of Jacques Tati's scripts, I definitely had an emotional reaction that I really never felt with any of Tati's films. It was so profound that I kind of had this feeling of what if after I watched this. Like, what if Tati had the chance of making this film? Would this be his best film? Before I get into what I'm conflicted about with the review, let me tell you what this film does right. And the film gets the look and the feel of a Tati film perfectly in the beginning. The way that the film looks, the feeling that you're in this like pure, innocent bubble. It definitely feels like Chomet got that feeling right. And the music in this film, oh my god, the music is perfect. What it also got right is the relationship between Alice and the Illusionist. Now, this relationship reminded me of the relationship that Hulot and his nephew had in My Uncle, where he's trying to preserve the innocence of that child for as long as it is necessary, so he can be a kid. He kind of does the same thing in this film, only there's a conflict brewing, because the girl is growing up into being a woman, and their views are going to start to separate. But the other thing that's happening is, in order to maintain that innocence, Tata Chef is using magic and making her believe it's real by giving her things that he felt like she would want. And of course, that ends up being a problem at the end, which leads to a very sad and depressing kind of end in a way, or kind of melancholy in a sort of way, where these two characters end up separating. Again, was a really heartbreaking way to end this film. And it was really, in a way, it was touching, but it was also very sad. So I'll be honest, after I watched The Illusionist, I really liked it. I thought it was heartbreaking and sad, but it had a very melancholic feeling. After I watched it, I was like, that really got Tati right. And like I said in the beginning, of this review, I kind of had this feeling like, oh man, what if Tati did this film? Would this be his best film? It just might. And then the conflict started arising about maybe 15, 20 minutes later, when I was really thinking about it and going, wait a minute, something's not right with this. And I think I know what it is. But I will say this, if you like the animation, and you don't have any experience with any Tati films, I would say still give this movie a shot. I think it's a very good movie. But my issue became that this was based off of a script from Tati. And I had to ask, how much of this film was Tati's vision, and how much does Chomet change? And I'm not asking just out of curiosity here, because something feels off with this film. Now, I have a confession to make. When I decided to do all the Tati films first, the only reason why is because I wanted to watch this film. I really like the animation. Something about the style of it really spoke to me. I was like, I really need to see this, but I really feel like I should watch Tati's films first before watching this. And I feel like by doing that, I kind of ruined this film, because The Illusionist does some things that I don't really feel like Tati would ever do. And it almost feels like Chomet used Tati's script as like a skin suit for his own story to make a different type of film. Again, he gets the feel and the music and the minimal dialogue and physical humor right in this. He even gets the nature of the films correct, where it feels quaint even when it's trying to be grand. But there's 2 things that I think it got wrong, and I think it's crucial that he got it wrong. First off, the expressiveness of the characters. Even though the characters in Tati's films are minimal, they're very one-dimensional. They have something that makes them stand out. Maybe it's the physical humor, maybe it's the way they dress, or maybe it's how outlandish they are. They are still very expressive in the way they act. The Illusionist, however, doesn't have that. Everyone has somewhat of the same look. They have oddly proportioned bodies, but lacking in detail in other aspects. And this is especially apparent in Alice. Her face is the only one in this film that barely has any kind of expressions in them. And I can see some people being bothered by that. And the other thing that I think that the film does that felt kind of off for a Tati film is the strange malicious streak that this film has at the end. The last act is like emotional gut punch after emotional gut punch. That's because that's when Tati Chef's illusions start to fall apart. Now, unless I misinterpreted Tati's work, I don't remember any kind of ill-hearted or malicious intent in any character in his movies. And this is where I think Chomet made some of those changes. The growing apart of Alice and Tati Chef feels incredibly harsh in retrospect. For example, why is there a scene where someone is trying to kill themselves? Literally, there is someone trying to commit suicide in this film. Or why is there a scene where someone is drunk and homeless? Or even in terms of the main characters, why does Tati Chef shoo away Alice? Twice in this film. I can't even fathom a character in a Tati film, let alone a character is supposed to be a Tati stand-in, not only not do that to a child, but do it so callously. It feels strange, but I feel like experiencing all the Tati films may have ruined The Illusionist for me. Now, I will freely admit that I felt the film was effective when watching it, especially in the end with its heartbreaking ending. But it also really doesn't feel like a Tati film. Maybe this is the film that Tati planned to make, but it really doesn't feel like one in the end. Alright, so before I get into my rating, let's see what other people think about this film. Letterboxd users has this at a 3.9 out of 5. Rotten Tomatoes has this at a 90% fresh. And this was nominated for 1 Oscar, and that was Best Animated Feature. Alright, so with my rating, I'm going to say this. If you have no experience with Tati at all, like you haven't seen any of his other films, and you just happen to have catched this review, add 1 star to this rating. Okay, so my rating for The Illusionist is 3 stars out of 5. I have to be honest, after I watched the film, it was very emotional. I actually liked it, and I thought it was effective. It wasn't until the end when I started thinking, wait a minute, this is supposed to be from a Tati script? Something isn't right. And that's where I guess the illusion of this being a Tati film, I know I'm sorry I said that, is where it broke for me. Because I really feel like something that is a Tati film, or is supposed to be a stand-in for a Tati character, wouldn't do the things that he was doing. Or the things that happen in this film wouldn't happen in a Tati film. And that's why I would like to know what exactly Chomet changed in this film. But if you have no experience with Tati films, I really think you'll like the vibe of the film. I think you'll like the animation and the music. Oh my god, the music is so good in this. So overall, I'm giving this a very conflicted 3 stars out of 5. It is free on YouTube if you have not checked it out, but it's also free on Tubi as well. Alright guys, so for my question, here's what I have to ask for you. Is there a film that you are deeply conflicted about? You like parts of it. You may actually love the film, but something about it just rings you the wrong way. Something about it just gives you this feeling that something about it isn't right. Let me know in the comments what that is. Alright guys, thank you again for watching. See you guys next time. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please like it. If you didn't, please subscribe. And if you have questions or comments, go ahead and leave a comment whether you liked it or not. It just helps, you know. If you want my written reviews, you can go onto my Letterboxd at IamThatWiz, or you can go to my website at IamTheWiz.com. Thank you very much again for watching. See you next time.